Hello everyone! Welcome back to the wide-eyed and high-flying Comic Vault. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
Today, by request from one of our patrons, Big Blue Boy Scout, we're going to finally tackle Superman American Alien.
Which completes our going through all the Superman origins from Man of Steel, except for Secret of Origin, which we skipped.
Yeah, which we skipped, and I don't know, has there been one since then? Because Bendis's wasn't really an origin.
No. I mean, we never intended to redo Earth 1. But
no, which would be a neat thing to revisit and do as one video.
All as one, yeah.
I'm not saying we're gonna, but maybe someday it would be cool to
Well,
do
and
that.
both of our Volume 2s are missing.
That's true, but I can read it digital now.
That's true. Well, and there's been a Volume 2 at Half Price Books forever. I should just finally break down by it. But,
I still don't...
And I don't like Secret of Origin. I'm not...
Surely we'll find one of them. Although I don't think yours ever got here. I think it was missing from the start. I don't know. It's probably not in this house. Mine's gotta be in this house. Where is it? I don't know. But anyway, I want to thank Big Blue Boy Scout for requesting this because it was a thing that we meant to get to anyway, and you didn't have to do that. But finally, we're forced to get this knocked out, and I feel bad that it's taken this long because we were doing the origins almost 3 years ago, and we did it pretty shortly after you got here. So I'm glad we're finally getting this done.
I'd also like to throw up top. We are aware of everything that's happened with Max Landis since this has come out. We're just talking about this miniseries.
Yeah, sure. Might as well throw that.
You don't need to talk about it in the comments. Like we know. We're just talking about
the art.
Yeah, we're just talking about this miniseries.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about the story too.
Yeah.
But we're just talking about the art he made.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's all unfortunate.
I specifically know a lot of what Max like. I've followed that quite a bit, and I've read a lot of it.
And that sucks. But that sort of thing doesn't tend to color your read of a thing too much, right?
No.
You've got pretty much a separation of artists, except for when it's too connected, right? Where, if it reminds you of it too much.
And there is a little bit of that in here, actually.
Okay, fair enough. Now that you're saying that, I guess there is.
There is a little bit where I'm like, oh, this is Max Landis. And I like Max Landis. Like, not as a person. But it doesn't suddenly get like I
a
like
red
Chronicle.
Because, wow, it's Landis that made it, and he did horrible things.
I like Chronicle, and I like the stoner shooting movie that wasn't actually a stoner movie. American Ultra. I like American Ultra quite a bit. I've never seen that. I like it quite a bit.
But I adore Chronicle.
Yeah, I think American Ultra was unfairly maligned because it was sold. It was sold as a stoner comedy. It's not at all. It just happens to have a main character who smokes pot, but it's not a stoner comedy. It's not. It's kind of a comedy. It was mismarketed, and people that saw it didn't like it because it wasn't what they thought they were getting. I think if you watched it in a vacuum with no expectations, you would like it more. Yes.
Yeah.
And I did not like Mr. Right. But anyways.
So American Alien is kind of an interesting experiment, I'll call it, where it is a 7-issue miniseries that is not telling a story from start to finish, but is creating its own Superman continuity. It's, in my mind, kind of like if, and it's not this as far as the story goes, except that it's a Superman origin, but it's kind of like if John Byrne did Man of Steel but didn't make anything after it. It's like that, and it's all like Superman origin, like early days of Clark Kent. Like Clark Kent's a kid, and then he's a teenager, and then he's an adult, and he puts the costume on around issue 5, and so he is.
Well, he has that proto costume for a little bit.
Well, so it's not all.
And I hate the costume when we finally get it.
It's not good. It's not all pre-Superman. It gets into early days of Superman, like a lot of these did.
Now, what I will say right off the back that I think starts things on a wrong foot and is pretentious and very Max Landis-y.
What, on the trade?
This is not a Superman comic.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Why does it say that? I mean, I thought the point
because it's about Clark Kent, which is fine until the back end of the series. It does become a Superman.
It does become a Superman comic.
If we never actually saw Superman and this was just about Clark Kent, the man, becoming the man that will be Superman, yeah, I would be fine with it. But it is a Superman comic.
No, it is, and it feels like it from the beginning. Like I guess I get the distinction, but the thing you got to remember is that Superman is a character, except for the ways in which he's lying as Clark Kent, where he wants to be bumbling so that nobody knows that he's Superman. Superman and Clark Kent are the same person.
I've always seen it like Batman, like Superman's a heightened persona and Clark Kent's got a heightened persona, and then there's the guy that goes home to Mom and Pa Kent, and that's the real guy. Byrne's different.
Sure, but
like the 90s Superman, Clark Kent and Superman are almost the same person.
Okay, but I just mean this, when you say like it's about Clark Kent, it's not about Superman, I get what he's saying, but the Superman persona believes in all the same stuff Clark Kent does. That is not the same with Bruce Wayne and Batman.
And it's
when he's Bruce Wayne, he's putting on an air.
Well, Clark Kent gets more that way, like in the movies and like when Jeff John writes, and when he's super fumbling, bumbling, he becomes a character. And then there's the real guy that's at home and dates Lois.
Yeah, that's true. Sure. Okay.
But you can't.
So it's more complicated.
You can't put that on the back of a book that ends with Superman punching Lobo for 20 pages.
No, you can't.
It becomes a Superman book just like every Superman origin become. Like, you could also put this on the back of the first volume of Earth 1.
Yeah. And if you're gonna do that, and again, I don't mean to just make a big deal out of the back of that book, but I didn't know that until you just showed it.
It's obnoxious.
If you're
super
gonna have
pretentious.
that on your trade, like, then have it be called something else. Don't
It's
put
also called
Superman in the
Superman
title.
American Alien.
Yeah. Call it Clark Kent American Alien if you're gonna do that.
Yeah.
But then they didn't start with that
We'll
that
just call
tagline.
it American Alien or whatever.
Yeah, or what? Yeah.
Anyways.
But anyway, no, you're right.
Anyways,
That is obnoxious.
Let's talk about the actual book.
Well, we should probably do that.
Do you want to just go issue by issue?
Let's do that. Let's start with our kind of basic sign flip.
Okay.
If we can, before we start getting into because I'm sure a lot of folks that are watching this have read this or know something about this, but let's just give like our basic thoughts. Like, did we like this? Did we not?
I would say good but flawed.
Yeah.
I don't think it's great. I don't love it. My biggest issue is I don't think Max Landis, and some of this comes from knowing Max Landis, like I've watched a lot of his YouTube videos, like I'm very familiar with the personality of Max Landis. Too much Max Landis is in this. And I don't mean as a writer, I mean as a person. He can't see past himself and thinks Clark Kent should be like him. And there are things that I don't think Clark Kent would do or approve of that are in this book that Clark Kent's totally cool with. That, like, that's not my morals. That is, I just don't think Clark Kent as a character would be okay with this, and it undermines a number of scenes and moments.
We'll get detailed
characters.
as we go along and talk about that, because I'm seeing two sides of that and do not know where I land on it.
Okay. Because I think it's supposed to be like a younger, hipper, and like more human version.
And more modern version.
I think it got too far away from the core of who Clark Kent is.
Okay.
But it's only a couple of moments. And a couple of certain tweaks to characters, kind of.
And that's why I didn't like that being said on the back of the cover like that, because I thought the point the back of that trade, because I thought the point of this was supposed to be no, Superman is still relevant even if he's more flawed. Like he can exist in the modern world, and he's not going to be perfect. But let's face it, he couldn't have been in the 70s either.
On the whole, I think it's good. I think structurally it's weird.
Yeah.
It's kind of not a mini-series. Like, it's not a complete piece, but it's also not a piece of vignettes either.
Yeah.
It's too much of a whole to be a series of vignettes, and it's not enough of a whole to be a whole. But
exactly
I like
my
it.
review.
I
It
think
drives
it's
me crazy.
good. I think there's some genuinely, like, great things. There's a couple of things I'm like, I've never seen that Superman comic before. That's great.
Yeah.
His take on Lex as... We'll get to his Lex.
Yeah,
I think his Lex is interesting.
I think his Lex is fantastic. Yeah, I'm gonna echo what you said. I liked this so much that I was irritated when it was over. It doesn't read like a thing that should stand on its own. If this was a series of vignettes that were all...
It's like a pilot.
Yeah.
It's like Burns Man Steel.
It's exactly what it is, and it needs more. It needs an ongoing after that, or another series or something. The ending feels arbitrary. Ending it where it ends, I feel like...
It's not an end to this story.
It's not. I feel like you still have... it is and it isn't, right? Like, I'm focused on other things that Landis is throwing in different places in this book than just the thing that the end makes a big deal out of, because I don't think that's all this book is about. If the main thing this book was about, and this is what the title makes you think it is just Superman feels alone, like Clark Kent feels alone, and he feels like he doesn't really fit, and then once he learns his, more or less his origins, and then looks back on his life, he goes, no, I'm human. But it's about other stuff than that, and so it just doesn't feel like that's the conclusion to a character arc, but that's not all we have here. And I just feel like there's a lot more
I
to
also
do.
think the Lois thing doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
She's not in this book enough, and if this was the Lois and Clark love story, like that would have been a fine ending. Like if that was what this book was about, but it's not.
No,
and
that
so
reads,
I don't
like,
think that works as an
It
ending.
reads obligatory. That reads like, well, you know that Clark Kent and Lois Lane are supposed to get
Yeah,
together.
everything important with them happened off screen.
And this is all supposed to be like between the raindrop stuff. It's supposed to be like just a snapshot in different moments in this guy's life. And if they're all kind of like inconsequential for the larger narrative of Superman, but mean something to him, okay. But it doesn't always feel like that. Sometimes it feels kind of more important than that.
And Landis does seem to agree with me on the Superman shouldn't know he's Kryptonian until after he's Superman. Or at least he also got that from John Byrne's Man of Steel.
Yeah. It's interesting some of the like where we are in certain parts of DC history when Superman finally does certain Superman things, and we'll get to that too. But anyway, like my biggest complaint about this is that it ends where it does and that there's not any more of it, and that it cannot decide if it wants to be a vignette piece or if it wants to be a story.
Mm-hmm.
There's too much intercontinuity stuff within itself to just be like... It's kind of interesting how it keeps handing off, like at the end of a story, an element that gets you into another story, but we don't do that every time.
We stop.
You know what I mean? And so
it's
when
the
we do
first
it
couple, and then we stop.
No, actually, more is in the middle. Like we do the story where everybody thinks he's Bruce Wayne, and then suddenly we have to do a story with Batman, like right after it.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about those last one-page things.
No, we'll talk about those because I have a huge issue with one of them.
Oh, okay.
There's one that I'm kind of annoyed about.
I don't like them at all because, again, well, okay, one of them I think is really good, but conceptually I think they're flawed because they're not. It feels like they're building a universe.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the point I'm trying to make is it's doing all this world building for a universe he's not going to keep playing in, and if it was just going to be a series of vignettes, why couldn't it be in continuity?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it a Superman origin again? Like, I don't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And this could have been a really cool world. Like, that's the thing is, I liked this world a lot. I wanted to keep playing in it.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes some relatively radical changes, like Batman predates Superman, and Superman kind of tries, way to do the Batman thing before he's Superman. That's interesting. We've not really done that before.
Mm-hmm.
You have a Black Jimmy Olsen. Even like aesthetically, he's changing stuff
Lois
and doing
is
it.
Asian.
Oh, really?
I think so.
I didn't even notice that. I don't think Lane is really an Asian name.
No, I don't either.
Okay.
But that's what I got from her in the
I didn't
way
really
she's
notice
drawn.
that. But I just throw that out as an example of he's wanting to make a different Superman universe, and it's almost like because this is a filmmaker.
She looks like Mulan.
Sort of, but I thought that was just the way that. Okay, but like Clark Kent down here also looks like he could be Asian too. Like it's just that artist.
Okay,
it's just
fair.
that artist.
That's fair. I thought that was a conscious choice.
Yeah.
Suppose not.
Maybe, but I did not pick up on that. I'm thinking that's just that artist. But anyway.
Yeah, less so in the final pages, the jock stuff.
Well, but now that you say that, maybe I'm not sure.
Anyway.
Well, anyway, it's not important. But Landis is a filmmaker before he's a comic book writer, and this screams, if I was going to make a Superman movie, this is what it would be like. And so he's like intentionally changing stuff because he wants to do his universe. And this would have been a delightful Superman film.
Yeah, it would have been great for a Superman film. He probably would have made more after it. He will never make another Superman comic book. You will never get more of this now.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
I mean, like...
It's not sad that he's not going to get the work. It's sad that this is as good as it is. We won't get
just
more
looking at this as a piece, when it was put out, there should have been more.
Yes.
So anyway.
Yes. But yeah, so first issue. Did you... I'm not sure if I'm right about this. I think the book gets wordier as it goes along.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that's a deliberate choice or just the situations get more complicated. But like I flew through the first issue, and then like later I'm like, oh my god, there's a lot of words. Like I'm actually having to read this.
It does not binge great. This was better month to month.
I bet it was.
And I think that's fine. Like I don't think that's a problem. I think it's whether this was intentional or otherwise, it's that the situations were simpler at the beginning because he's a kid and he's dealing with he's dealing essentially with puberty at the beginning, and then it gets a little bit wordier in the second book because it's more involved, and now he's having to deal with like an actual human threat, right?
Mm-hmm.
But by the third issue, it's way wordier.
Well, then when Lex shows up.
Yeah, all bets are off at that point. Yeah. So
I'm not sure if that was a deliberate choice or if just the stories got more sophisticated or got more in, like, just inherently by their nature got more complicated.
Exactly, but whether it's deliberate or not, I think it makes sense that happens.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is a horribly overwritten book.
No, I don't either.
I think that third issue, there are places where it is, but overall, and I think that is the biggest problem issue, right?
The third issue I would cut from the book entirely. I don't like it.
I don't know if I go that far. There are things about it I like. But
Okay. The first
I like
issue,
his relationship with that girl. I don't necessarily like the thing that I know you don't like about that, and we'll get to that. But that whole speech where he's like screaming at the stars and stuff, nah, you need that.
Okay. The first issue is drawn by Nick Dragotta, who's an artist I love.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's his best work.
Okay.
I just think he's...
Oh, we should mention, these are all drawn by different people.
They're all drawn by different people. And I was really confused at the beginning because I saw this many names. I'm like, there's not that many issues. It's because there's those backup one-page things that are also drawn by
those are drawn by different people.
Yeah, they're all drawn by different
Okay,
people.
I didn't know that. Or I wasn't paying attention to that.
Dragotta's good here, but he's doing a cartoony thing that he doesn't usually do. I know him from Vengeance, and he also did East of West, which is a great comic.
I've never read that, but I know what it is.
I've never seen him do anything like this. It's not bad. It's just, I was like, oh, Nick Dragotta, and I'm like, this isn't exactly the Nick Dragotta I know. I love the E.T. thing.
The E.T. thing.
When they go to the drive-in, they're watching E.T., and there's
this... is it E.T.? Is that the movie they're watching?
Okay, so I couldn't figure it out immediately.
It didn't occur to me it was a real movie.
But he's in hazmat suits,
yes.
Which is the E.T. scene, and I'm like, which is the scariest scene in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
And it's even scarier when you're an alien, but then he's looking in the mirror and he's E.T.
Oh, see, I thought he was just some generic, like, creepy alien. It didn't occur to me he was doing E.T.
No, I think it's specifically E.T.
Okay. That's cool.
I love the idea that for an alien, E.T. is kind of a horror movie.
A little more layered. Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
I thought that was a really nice choice.
And I love it when Lana's got this deer in the headlights look, and he just goes, "This movie is great." I was not sure in that scene if she knew his secret.
I'm not sure.
But I was assuming
everyone does eventually.
Have. Eventually, most of Smallville seems to know, and we'll talk about Smallville.
It's great.
Because I love... Well, we can just talk about it now.
Yeah, we can talk about it now because it's a big part of this first... Actually, this is the only issue that takes place primarily in Smallville, or second issue too?
The second issue also does.
The second issue also does, yes.
Yes. And then the issue where Pete shows up, we talk a lot about Smallville, even though we don't go there. What is it, 6, where he comes to Metropolis?
Yes.
This is the best Smallville I've ever seen.
It's very good.
I like it so much. It's really believable. It's really realistic. It feels like a real small town. There are other places where it has felt like a real small town. This one feels like a modern small farm town, which is hard to pull off because farms are different now. But this doesn't feel like a bygone era. This feels like last Tuesday, and I was really impressed with that.
Well, it's also not so long ago, because like they're seeing E.T., like, if E.T.'s actually kind of a stretch, but like, if Superman's 20 in this book... We're talking 20 years ago.
Okay, that's true. So it shouldn't feel like it
shouldn't feel like yesterday.
No, that's true. But I'm just saying it feels like a modern.
It's a
town.
90s small town, which is when you live in a small town. But
yes, no, you're right. Okay, so I will amend what I said a little bit. But what I'm saying is it doesn't feel like the 60s.
No,
that's the point I was making.
Or, I mean, a lot of Superman stories feel like it's the 40s.
Yes.
And then you go to Metropolis and it's today.
Yeah, exactly. But the reason this Smallville is so cool is because he's not Superman before he's Superman. There is one horrible thing that happens, and the town never has any violence, and the stakes feel so much higher for Clark because he's not constantly dealing with this kind of thing, and because
it's the first time he's really had to deal with violence,
and it's never occurred to him that he would have to. And then like he's got all these powers, it's never occurred to him. Well, wait a minute. What if I'm needed? What would I do? And then what would the consequences to my person be? But I like that most of the people in the small town know that he has powers. Like it's a thing he can't keep a secret. He trusts everybody knows your name, and he trusts everybody. And I guess not the entire town. It's like the doctor and like the police, the police sheriff, the sheriff.
It's a real, like, romanticized version of that without being too, like, cutesy and naive about it.
Exactly.
Like, it is the town that Superman would have grown up in.
And
like, Superman in and of himself is a romanticized notion, and, like, I like extending that to his whole hometown.
It's what I would want from a Smallville movie. And if you did a whole movie that was like, what if the TV show was smarter about it? Because I don't know if you could make that TV show.
This is what it should have looked like in Man of Steel.
It's what it... Yeah, absolutely. Because as I was looking at this, I kept going, okay, what I always wanted from the TV show is something closer to this and to, like, really focus on the human drama and not so much on the superpowers. But I don't know if anybody would have watched that show. You know what I mean? Like, for regular television, if you got to make 22 episodes... I don't know if you could get away with this as your show. Like, I've always said, I don't know if you
get away with this as a comic book. Like, as a miniseries.
I don't know.
Like, it works as an issue. I don't know if you can do a 6-issue miniseries about Smallville.
Like I would love just a drama that's basically like Seventh Heaven, but better. That, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's Smallville, and he uses his powers like 3 times a season. And when they happen, it's a big freaking deal. You know? This gave me that for 5 minutes, and... Oh boy, did I love that. Also, it's always drawn by the right people.
Yes. The issues where the artist is correct.
The issues where I'm not loving the art is not in Smallville, and they have the right people drawing Smallville. Mm-hmm. But anyway, Smallville was was one of my big takeaways from this.
This is where we set up the cape thing, and I still don't know why or how.
What do you mean?
So it's here.
We're back to the first issue right now. So we didn't even talk about what the first issue is about, but he's learned he can fly, but he can't control it, and he's
that's the issue.
Yeah, but it's great.
Yeah,
I love it.
No, I'm not complaining.
Clark Kent thinks he's a balloon is a fantastic story to tell for Superman. He's going up and up and up, and he cannot figure out how to get down.
Or well, he can figure out how to fall. He can stop rising.
Eventually he does, but the very beginning of the issue is, I keep going up and I can't figure out how to stop. And I just loved that.
And he doesn't know how to, like, direct himself.
Or anything, yeah.
But he's wearing a hoodie. Mm-hmm. Later, Superman's going to explain the cape as he needs it to turn.
I don't know what that means. But I don't understand that.
But this is where we set it up.
Yeah.
His hoodie gets ripped up, it's like a cape, and now he can fly. But he doesn't explain how. And I don't... Like, maybe somebody who, like, understands, like, air and space.
I didn't but like interpret it that way.
That's Eric. But I didn't either until I pulled the page open just now, having read the entire series. But he has the cape, now I can fly.
I don't think those things are related except thematically. I don't think it's that, like, he's got a cape so now he can fly.
I didn't read it that way, but having read the ending where he says he needs it to turn, I'm wondering if he needs the cape to actually move.
I think that's a huge stretch, especially because it's not a cape, it's a shredded shirt. It's not functioning as a cape. It's, like, all over the place. There's not very much of it.
Okay.
I don't think you're right about that.
Okay.
I think it's just supposed to be cute foreshadowing.
Okay.
I still think that's just cute foreshadowing.
Okay. I just thought with the line later, I'm like, oh, there's something about having something attached to the back of you that makes it so that he can navigate.
I don't even think that's necessarily where he got the idea. I think that's for our benefit. I think it's just, it looks like he's wearing a cape because we always like to do...
Okay.
Like cute foreshadowing stuff in Superman.
Okay. Later on, we will explain it. I don't know how or what it means.
No, I don't know what I need it to turn means, and there's no elaboration. He explains it to Pete, and he just sort of acts like
we all get it.
It makes sense, and we move on. And I don't understand what he's talking.
Yeah. Do you, like, catch, like, a pocket of air so, like, it moves you?
Yeah.
Or something? Like, he just doesn't explain. Like, it sounds like a cool idea. Explain it to me.
He just says turning's hard. That's why I wear the cape. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But the first issue is real fun and quick and...
kind of heartfelt.
It's a good mom and pa cat. And they're the older mom and pa cats.
Mm-hmm. And they call them mom and pa.
Yeah, they do call... And it doesn't feel sappy or dated.
No.
I 100% buy that he calls them mom and pa.
Yep.
Then we have the fight issue. Or the crime issue.
Which I think works pretty well.
I do too.
Honestly.
I think it's very good.
So the situation is there's a robbery that goes south, and some people get shot in a store in Smallville, and it's like the only time this kind of thing has happened in forever. And the sheriff is kind of freaking out.
And, like, the cop says something. It was like where they like ask him, like, some kind of questions about, like, doing his job. He's like, okay, look, it's not like this happens like,
yeah.
I don't know when the last time we had a murder was.
So the sheriff knows that Clark has superpowers and asks for his help.
Yes.
And Clark does some X-ray vision, and he knows something about the crime scene, but he's afraid to get involved, and he doesn't. And then later he thinks differently about it, and he gets involved, and he uses heat vision, and he hurts the
main bad guy.
The main bad guy, who is like messing with his parents and probably would have killed them. I guess the deal was he lived at home and he got thrown out because he had drugs, or he was selling drugs or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so he comes back and he's basically trying to like get revenge on them for throwing him out. He's basically a Crypto Freak-esque bad guy without powers. If Smallville ever had their villains actually about something that wasn't the most petty thing.
Lana?
You know what I mean?
Are you calling Lana the most petty thing?
I am calling Lana the most petty thing. Not in this, but in Smallville.
I have a question about this issue, which is, why does Clark get hurt? Is it just he's not super durable yet?
I think so.
Okay.
That was the sense I got.
Okay.
He gets hurt later, too.
But by Lobo.
Yeah, but like we know that this is a Superman that can feel pain. I forget what exactly happened to him that injured him.
But they hit him with a shovel or something.
Yeah, that's what it was.
But like in the first issue, when he's a kid, when they take him up in the plane, they say that like the propellers won't. Propellers won't hurt him, but they won't damage him. Like it'll whop him pretty good.
Yeah.
But like he won't die or anything.
Okay, so that's maybe.
So why is he hurt? I was confused by that.
And he's getting really close to adulthood at that point, and then not too long from now he's gonna have bullets bounce off of him.
Yeah,
so.
I just didn't fully understand that. Who is this artist? Because I like him.
Yeah.
He's sketchier.
It's real. Yeah,
it
but
reminds me of Gotham Central.
It's right for that.
Yeah.
It's real gritty.
Oh, it's Tommy Lee Edwards, who I feel like I like. I think he did some Hellblazer.
I always love the juxtaposition with this kind of thing where you have, and we don't do it enough with Superman, where you have a really gritty story where Superman is not what's gritty about it.
Yeah, which was always what you said about. Was it Man of Steel? Where you're like you can make a gritty Superman movie without making Superman gritty.
You can make a super dark Superman movie, just don't make Superman the thing that's dark about
it.
Yeah. That's why I love Winter Soldier.
Yeah, because Captain America's not the dark element of that movie. Do you want to talk about Doomsday?
Should I do that now, since that's where that happens?
That's where it happens. It's drawn by Evan Doc Shaner. What is the satellite?
Doomsday is what I'm upset about.
What is the satellite? We also know that Max Landis hates
Death Superman.
Or is at least highly critical of it.
Yeah, because he made that short film, and I never liked that, but whatever.
I thought it was fun.
He makes some good points in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, so this is why I don't know what the satellite is.
Why does it have the Superman S? Or Kryptonian S?
Oh man, it does. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that makes no sense. We also don't know when this is happening. I mean, I assume it's happening at the same time, but
I don't know.
Yeah.
And so this is the first of these. There was kind of a thing with the last one that wasn't really. It was just that double page spread that was just like a bunch of like trophies and like awards and things. It's listed as like written by Max Landis, drawn by such and such. I'm like, do you really need the separate credits for? Okay, whatever. But I read this and I read the next one, which I think is the Mixiplex one, and I was like,
when he says that, he means Mixoplex.
No one knows. Mixspitlick, no one knows what any of those names are, and he acknowledges that. But I thought we were building
the one
we
hear most often is Mixoplex, and 9 out of 10 people will call him.
I think it's Mixopitlick is the one we. Well,
no, that's Lois and Clark.
It's also the Animated series.
Yeah, but post that, it's always been Mixoplex. When you go to Smallville, when you go to it's always been Mixoplex.
Okay. I think the official pronunciation is Mixopitlick.
I think it used to be. I don't think it is now.
Okay.
I think 20 years it hasn't been.
Which is why Mixiplex is a fine interpretation of how that name is pronounced.
It's not at all. It doesn't have a Y at the end. I don't understand. But
when he explains it to Superman, he says Spitlick, and there's no S in it. In Superman the Animated Series, he says it's Mixel Spitlick, and there's no S in that either.
Well, no, but I never liked that pronunciation either.
I think that's a canonical one.
But anyway, so can I tell you what I don't like about this?
Yeah.
The fact that we don't do anything with it?
Yep.
Okay, so there's another one like that too, but Mixoplex the other one we don't pay off. That's not a big deal.
It just bothers me because why is it here?
And I don't know why the Mixoplex one is there either, but here's the thing.
But I actually love the Mixoplex one.
Can I be honest with you, I didn't actually read that.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Oh, okay. Maybe I should.
I'll tell you about it when we get to it, but...
I read this and decided they didn't matter.
They don't matter.
Here's the thing. We get to the we get to the one with Parasite.
And that one matters.
I'm like, these don't matter. And then the very next issue, it matters. It's weird. There's another Superman origin that does Parasite. Is it For All Seasons? Or I can't remember, but...
No, Secret Origins does Parasite.
That's what does Parasite, yeah.
The one we didn't review.
So I was kind of surprised that we went to Parasite. But
oh,
yeah.
and Earth One also does Parasite. And it's the worst part of Volume 2.
Yeah, it's not good. I thought one of the ones we reviewed did Parasite. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't think so.
Okay, but anyway, so Parasite is set up, and I went, oh, his last issue, he's going to go to Death Superman.
No.
Like, that's what you do.
Yeah.
And and he didn't.
But he also doesn't do anything with
Mixoplake. Yeah,
yeah.
I know that.
I know you just don't care about him, but like he set them both up. I thought we were going somewhere at the ending. I was really
Me too.
surprised.
And here's the thing. Yes, you're right. It's also a problem if I'm having a problem with this that we don't do anything with Mixoplake. But when we got into issue 7 and we never do anything with Doomsday, I was just real disappointed.
That's fair.
Because
it almost feels like
at that
there's
point, I was thinking, well, maybe this isn't just going to be Origin. Maybe we're going to...
I was wondering that, too.
At the end, kind of jump ahead and go, okay, we've had all these years of Superman, and then here's the end of Superman. And I thought that because I knew he doesn't like Death of Superman, I thought he might do his own take on it.
Well, and maybe the idea...
You could do a great 22-page issue that's it right at the end of that Death of Superman.
Well,
right?
and
like,
you also could have done a companion main series where you do, like, the life, and like you jump to the end.
Yeah.
Where you do like here's how Superman started, here's how Superman ended, and you can infer the universe that existed in between. Yeah. Like I set up the universe and I end the universe. No, like you could totally do that. I think that's a great way to do something. I mean it's year 1 and Dark Knight Returns essentially, but
before we move on, can we talk a little bit about the crux of the story for 2? Because we didn't actually really talk about what that story was about, and I really like the ending of that. I like that it's about like Clark Kent simultaneously learning the responsibility lesson. It's kind of the Spider-Man thing, where it's like you can't just let these things happen, but you also can't be impulsive about it, and he's got to find that line. So I really like that conversation with Martha at the end, where it's like, you really screwed up here, but thank God you were there. Mm-hmm. It's great. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really important for the evolution of this particular version of this character.
Yeah, I agree. No, it's really good.
It's easy to read as a throwaway story, but it's not. Like, it's really important. I think that third issue reads more throwaway. This does not.
No, this is important to the formation of this person. And I
think every issue, to a degree, is about Clark learning about power and what power he has, how to control his power, but also the good and bad things that come along with it, and and how easy it is to misuse it, which is what the issue 3 is supposed to be about. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, everyone thinks you're Bruce Wayne, what could you do with that power? Mm-hmm. And I like that as an idea. I
agree. Getting into issue 3,
yeah,
I don't like issue 3. I have one foundational issue, or I have a major issue, but then that's rooted in like my issue with the whole issue, which is once he gets there and like realizes that like he can just kind of live as Bruce Wayne for a day, I don't believe that Clark Kent does the things he does. I don't believe that Clark Kent gets drunk and parties with all these people.
Before we get all the way to where I know you're going with that, I gotta ask you a really important, to use your word, fundamental question. Is he Clark Kent yet?
Yes. He was born and raised in the entire problem I have with it is that I don't buy, like, regardless of who he's going to become into Superman, I don't buy that raised in the conservative Midwest in a small town in Kansas, gets on a yacht with a bunch of rich people and starts yucking it up and drinking and has casual sex. I don't believe that Clark... I more buy it later after he's lived on his own in the city that he would do that than I do...
But we're told that this is a Clark that is not as perfect as the one you're used to. We're told Pete says you're not as nice of a guy as you pretend like you are.
Right.
I remember in the second issue, they're all in a place they're not supposed to be, getting drunk behind a building, hoping that the cops don't catch them.
Yeah, but then
you're acting like there's a couple of token things that he throws in because he's Max Landis and he likes to do those kinds of things. He has set it up, and so like, I'm of two minds about it. I don't know if I'm okay that he went that far, but it is consistent potentially.
But they're not like getting plastered. They're just like hanging out and like drinking, and like it felt like typical teenager stuff. And like I don't think that Clark Kent wouldn't necessarily not have sex. I think he would with Lana. Like at this point in his life, maybe
you don't like that it's with some chick he just met.
Yeah.
On a boat pretend. Now, to be fair, he's not pretending like he's someone else with her.
No.
He did not pretend to be Bruce Wayne to sleep with a chick.
No.
It's important to note.
But
she's the one person that knows he's not Bruce
I'm
Wayne.
not saying Clark Kent wouldn't have premarital sex. I think he might sleep with a person he's in a relationship with. I do not believe he would have a random one-night stand.
He does that in the Reeves movies. He does that going back to the 70s.
I fundamentally disagree, and that feels like Max Landis and not Clark Kent. To me. And
like I said, I guess the point I'm trying to make is he is trying to make an argument for it. I don't know if he's selling me on it.
And I also think that girl's a little too perfectly manic pixie dream girl, where like she's exactly the like spark of like individuality that he needed at that moment. And I think it's too easy, and I think she's too perfect.
Also, when you're having Clark Kent pretend he's Bruce Wayne, the girl that he gets involved with cannot be named Barbara. Just don't confuse me like that. Just don't do that.
They also
don't do it.
They also and she's redheaded.
I'm sure that's not who that's supposed to be. Don't do that.
Well, but they also call her Minerva,
because
and I don't know what that is.
I didn't know what that meant either.
I was like, is this somebody?
Barb came. Yeah, that's what I wondered too. Maybe it is. Somebody can leave a comment, but
maybe she's that. No, because that chick has two L's. I was gonna say the mermaid chick. Like maybe it's a modernized version of that mermaid chick that Superman hangs out with.
I don't know,
but that's also two L's.
Anytime you do a thing like that, the fans are gonna be like, "Oh my God, it's Barbara Gordon," and don't do that.
Yeah, no, I
name her anything else.
I don't believe. Okay, I think one of two things happens when Clark Kent gets on this boat. Coming from the background he comes from, and like this isn't me putting my own personal morals and ethics in this. This is how I see Clark Kent.
And I'm just not sure that with the first two issues we have that we know enough about how he would handle a situation like this.
Okay, but I think we
know how he handles superpowers. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Like we know that he's got a sense of responsibility. We know that he cares about people. I love the scene in this issue where they're eating the food with the gold on it.
Yes.
And he's like, that could save. And
they're like, classic Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, that's hilarious. But like that's Clark Kent.
Yeah, no, it is. But I think one of two things happens coming from the background that Clark Kent comes from.
Okay.
Which is, he's just completely repulsed by the like rich decadence, or it's his first experience with anything like that, and he goes way too far.
Yes.
And it doesn't do either. He just acts like a rich party kid, and like, I don't believe that Clark Kent would do that.
I mean, he at least resists it at first, and then he just kind of goes with it because everyone. I think part of the problem is the situation is kind of hard to believe.
Mm-hmm.
That just everyone insists that he's Bruce Wayne, no matter
really
what he says. It's not a good premise.
I get the idea, and it's kind of like American Psycho, where like the joke of American Psycho is that all the rich guys in the 80s went to the same barbers, they all got the same haircuts, they all looked identical, and so like Patrick Bateman keeps getting mistaken for, like even murders he may have actually committed, people don't think he did when he tries to confess, because like, no, I saw you here. But it wasn't him, it was someone else that they thought was him, because they all looked the same.
Someone else!
I get that idea, and I think it's a fun one. It doesn't really work, and they're like, well, nobody's seen Bruce Wayne. And I was like, okay, so like, any black-haired kid washes up,
and then the Deathstroke thing doesn't make any sense. Because if he never shows up to these parties, why does Deathstroke think he'll be here this time?
Yeah. I don't...
He never comes to these parties.
I also don't think Max Landis writes drunk well.
No, it's awful. Why aren't people surprised? And he thinks it's funny and it's not.
I believe that's how he talks when he's drunk, because he thinks it's funny.
I don't think it's funny. And I don't like seeing Clark Kent like that, so you gotta work even harder to make me enjoy that scene.
Can Superman even get drunk?
Yeah, that was weird. Now, his getting drunk is weird. His getting drugged, maybe, like Deathstroke, because the scene you're talking about is not because he's drunk, it's because Deathstroke drugged him.
You're right. Maybe.
And
Superman's biology is weird.
And the drug was supposed to kill him, but he's Superman, so it
just lowers his.
So I'm kind of okay with that.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
But is he actually inebriated with actual alcohol before that? Because if that doesn't happen, then we're kind of good. Like,
well, what poisons him because he's hanging out with the girl and then he's drunk and he's going to the bathroom.
No, I know,
where Deathstroke
but
is.
he was but it was put in whatever he was drinking. So
Oh,
he
it was in
thinks
your
he's
champagne.
drunk.
Okay, so he's not drunk.
Yeah, but he's not actually
that's
drunk.
fine.
It's whatever Deathstroke put in his
That's
drink.
fine.
Yeah,
That's fine.
And also, this is a much more limited Superman than we're used to, which is part of the reason I really wish this went to a monthly. Because we get to read about a Superman that can't go to space.
Yeah,
And I've never seen that.
That's a great idea.
I love that so much. Where he tries, he's like, I think I can do this, and then Green Lantern has to save him.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting ahead of ourselves, but
I also think he could
great.
work up to it. I think it's Superman that could maybe go to space
Maybe
at
so.
some point. I also really don't like the actual like post-sex scene. It's not funny.
No, it's not.
It's not funny. But and then there's Bruce training at the. He looks kind of like Bruce Lee.
Thematically, it's a really interesting idea that Clark would be forced in a situation to pretend like the guy that, as a superhero, he is kind of the fundamental opposite of, and that he's not figured out who he is yet, so he has to look in the mirror and see Bruce Wayne and decide, I don't want to be that guy. And also later as Batman, I like that as an idea, but it's not executed quite right, and I don't know how you could do that. Like, and it feels almost too on the nose. Like it's an image I like, but I don't know if it's a story I could be made to like. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Also should note that the art is by Joel Jones, who I know from.
And I like the art in that. Okay.
I think he does some of Tom King's Batman.
Okay.
It's a name I recognize. But we get the Mixelplick
And you'll have to tell me what happens in that because I didn't actually read it.
Mixelplick talks to you, the reader, and informs you that he's immortal because he was created like 100 years ago and he still exists and looks the same, but you're getting older and he's going to live longer than you are.
It's awesome.
It's great.
That's awesome.
It's great.
It's almost like that's maybe an idea that Max Landis had in his head for a decade and didn't have a place to put it. So he just put it in there?
Yeah.
Because that doesn't sound like it has anything to do with the book.
You're holding this comic, reading it, and you think you're in control. But you're so weak you can't even pronounce my name. Go ahead, try it.
Okay, so I would have made this argument had I actually done my homework and read that scene. I wouldn't expect that to pay off in any way whatsoever. He's just talking to you, the reader. That's just like a fun.
But it's in a
thing.
sequence of things.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because it's fourth wall breaking and he's talking just to you. The Doomsday thing is like an in-continuity thing. It's like, meanwhile, out in space, Doomsday. Like.
Yeah, but it's like him here, we're like just like popping him like, by the way, I'm here.
Okay.
Like if this was an ongoing, you would expect this to come back.
Yes, that's true.
And it's the second one in a row.
Vignette piece.
Yeah,
and in a row.
I think what he thinks he's doing is he's putting even smaller vignettes within his vignettes, but it doesn't feel that way.
It reads like world building.
And then we get to Owl by Jay Lee. I like Jay Lee. This is the best he's ever been colored. He's mostly famous for.
Oh yeah, and this is that Lex issue. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
he's. I know him most from he did the Dark Tower comics, but he's done a bunch of other stuff here and there. I like Jay Lee a lot, and not so much his 90s stuff. You go look at this stuff on X Factor in the 90s, it's bad. But Marvel always colors him too heavily. This is the first time I've seen him colored with almost like flat colors, and it looks amazing.
Yeah,
I love
it looks really well.
the art in this.
And usually I complain about this for whatever reason. It looks really great with this. I usually complain when we don't do enough with backgrounds. I love the minimalistic backgrounds in this,
and he always does that. When you
Why-
get to that Batman
why
page
do I like
later,
that so much? It's great.
the like this stuff.
Oh yeah,
like
that's awesome.
it's just gorgeous.
Oh, where he's got Batman's cape on.
Yeah.
And you see him in front of the sunlight.
But like there's no.
And the light work through all this.
There's like no backgrounds. Yeah, no, like this is consummate. Yeah, no, it's great.
I think it's because it looks intentional and it's not lazy. Where it's not like, well, we just didn't have time to render a background like a lot of 90s comics had. It feels like a stylistic choice, and like the emphasis is not supposed to be on what's on like the location. It's because this is such a
builds
character
atmosphere.
Piece. It builds atmosphere, and it's not an action issue at all. It's very talky. It's all internalized.
And that's what a lot of, like, if you go with the Dark Tower stuff, it's a lot of like not backgrounds. Like it doesn't feel lazy. It feels like it's intentional.
Oh, he drew the Dark Tower stuff.
He drew the Dark Tower stuff.
the light work in that is also awesome.
Yeah. No, that he's great.
I read one trade of that. That art is fantastic.
Yep.
So good. I highly recommend that just for the art.
But I think in some ways this looks... I mean, that fits that material, but, like, I love the flat coloring in this. Yes. And, like, I've never seen colored like this, and I think it looks amazing.
So, the other thing that makes me really annoyed that we don't get to keep reading more of this is he's got... So, his Lex is Rosenbaum Lex all grown up.
Okay. That's not the take I had on him, but...
That's how I read it, man.
Okay. That's fair. I read him as the farthest extreme of Ayn Randyism, and I don't think I'm wrong because we mentioned Ayn Rand in the previous issue.
We mentioned it, yeah, sure. No, that's what it is. And I love how convicted he is. Like, it's not just I'm better than you. He really believes what he's saying. It's like, no, I deserve it because of what I've accomplished. And
that makes me a good person.
You could be this too, you're just not doing it.
Yeah. But, like,
I built myself to this.
And I can actually change the world. You can sit there and whine and want the world to be better. I can actually make the world better, and that's why I'm better than you.
When I say he's like Rosenbaum Lex, I mean an attitude and the way he talks more than anything. Because obviously, just story-wise, like, that Lex did not build himself from nothing. It's kind of amazing, honestly, that we love that version as much as we do, because he's not a self-made man.
This Lex probably did burn his house down with his father in it, like classic Lex.
No, he must have, yeah. And like Lionel did, because Lionel is just comic book Lex Luthor, who killed both of his parents in a tenement fire, and then took the insurance money and started his company. And there's that episode where we learn that, where Chloe's got that power that makes him... that makes everybody tell the truth, and he says, "Well, I needed that money to start my company. Like, of course I killed my parents. It's great."
Rosenbaum's Lex would be much less sympathetic if that was his backstory.
Well, yes, that's true.
You can't do the compare and contrast between these two friends.
Doesn't want to be his parents, and Clark's the guy that should want to be his parents. Yeah, but anyway, but the whole sending Clark to the kid zone thing—that's a Rosenbaum Lex move. I love that so much. He has this. So you're right. It is Randian, and he has like the big extreme of that. And the end of it is you are a child and you don't know what you're doing, and that is echoed later when he talks to Superman, who he doesn't realize is the same guy that he sent to the kid zone, and he's making the same argument.
Yeah, there's something in Byrne where he does something like that, where it's the idea of Superman, and then like meeting Superman, you're like, oh, you're an idiot. I assumed someone as powerful as you must be as smart as me. You must be like a true, like everything you can be like I am.
Yeah.
But you're not. You're just a guy who can fly around.
Yeah.
And isn't that disappointing?
Almost wrong, almost morally incorrect. This felt almost like it was trying to echo, I don't know if this is on purpose, that scene where reporter Clark Kent is following Lex around in All-Star Superman.
Oh, yeah.
I was reminded of that.
Yeah, I could see that, definitely. I also like how he gets the interview with Lex, which is just Oliver Queen screwing around.
Yes.
I think that's very funny. And I like his Oliver Queen. I like his just off the island, mournful, I'm going to try and do better now,
idealistic
Oliver Queen. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like the contrast of those three guys. Putting them in a summit is a cool idea, but I also like that we don't go as far as to seeing it.
And Bruce Wayne's somewhere.
Yeah.
Because they mentioned Bruce Wayne.
He's always somewhere. Well, he's supposed to be part of that summit.
And he just doesn't show up.
Bruce, Lex, and Oliver Queen, and they're supposed to get together to do something.
Okay, so I do have an issue with this issue.
Okay.
So, this is the kids' room.
Yes.
Like little kids.
Yes.
How old is Dick Grayson?
What is Dick Grayson doing there?
Because it looks like he's like 7, but he talks and acts like he's 12.
12, yeah. I had the same thing, and I thought that whole thing was a little bit forced and kind of cutesy, where it was like, Clark has to keep meeting these people from the DC Universe who are already more or less who they're always going to be in order to find himself. And I don't have a fundamental problem with it on the level of, well, Superman's supposed to be the first superhero. It's not that. It's just too easy.
However, I like the Dick Grayson stuff. Like, I like where he's like, I know that Batman needs a light to his darkness. I'm just trying to find the best way to articulate so I can convince him. I really like that.
Well, and that's great because obviously that's what he's going to be, but it also gives Clark a hint about what his place should be too.
I also love the Dick Grayson vision where he like breaks down Clark Kent.
He's doing detective work.
He's like, you're not supposed to be here.
He's figuring all these things out about him.
Yeah, I really like
that. And
you
know that like next Tuesday he's going to know that he's got superpowers. Like as soon as he puts on the Superman suit, as soon as he's wearing the Batcape, Dick Grayson's going to watch the news and be like, oh, I met that guy.
Yeah. Well,
I know who that is.
Well, and I also love that he has this thing where he's like, I have to get good at this. I can do the physical stuff, and Bruce knows that. But I have to be good at this too, otherwise he'll never let me go out.
So he's thinking about it all the time.
Yeah, it's that, because Batman doesn't just punch people.
No,
and so Dick Grayson can't just punch people. But, like, I love his take on Dick Grayson. I just don't know why he's introduced and makes me think he's... I was like, oh, this is a very young Dick Grayson. Then he starts talking, I'm like, oh, no, he's not a very young Dick Grayson.
That young,
he's just normal Dick Grayson.
But you're right, it's a really well-written scene.
Yeah. I think all of it works better on the Dick Grayson side than it does the Clark side.
Okay.
It plays a little prequelitis-y, where like, Robin basically gives him the idea to be Superman. Because I guess this is kind of fun, but when he's talking about a light to Superman's or a light to Batman's darkness, he's talking about himself.
Yeah.
But Clark isn't picking up on that. He's internalizing. He's like, It's me. I can be the light to Batman's darkness.
Yeah. And I just like the way he breaks. It's funny because it's almost like Max Landis would also really love to write a Batman thing, but he got a Superman thing, so he's going to throw some of his ideas about that in there. And it's one of the best articulated explanations of why the escalation thing happens with Batman. When he says, you can't be all fear.
Yeah, because sometimes they just get angry.
Yeah. They're just going to come after you. So it's not the whole maybe Batman's a crazy person thing. It's that, well...
Maybe his tactics aren't actually the best.
And it's also not just if you stir up the pot. It's if you're... It's the extremist thing. If you're all one thing, there's problems.
And the other side will become the opposite of you. And then Clark Kent dances like an idiot and acts like Max Landis.
So before that, because, oh God, I hate that so much, I wanted to ask you this question. Did you want this to not have so much other DC stuff in it, or did that not bother you at all?
No, I actually really like that.
Yeah. I like it, and I'm a broken record. If we're building a universe, if it's just vignettes, I don't know if we should have done all that.
I actually like it better if it's just vignettes.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Because it's a universe, and like I know the DC universe is always more isolated than the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
But like, I like just being like, well, I'm in this universe. Like my Superman, like if this Superman went on, he wouldn't be in a universe that didn't have Batman and
but the problem is, it feels like
Wonder
he's
Woman and
also building his own versions of some of those other DC characters that we're never going to play with. That's what's disappointing about it for me.
That's fair, but. Like,
not that this isn't a traditional Batman, it is.
Yeah, like I was going to say, how different is this from traditional Batman Dick Grayson?
But their relationship would be very different.
Batman Superman?
Yeah.
Well, yes.
Because he was inspired by Batman.
Yes, yeah. Which works and shouldn't.
It shouldn't, but it's great. Superman wearing a Batman cape first should be awful. I love it.
And I guarantee you that this issue exists because of how much Max Landis hates BVS.
Oh, sure. Sure.
He's
got to do the exact opposite, where it's like, and isn't it interesting? It's almost like he's intentionally trying to get some certain conflicts out of Superman, but he's not making it less dramatic by doing that, because it's like you lose. Well, I mean, there is a Batman Superman conflict. I just think that they would probably get over it pretty quickly. But he also gets rid of any Clark Lois conflict at all, because the first thing they do at the end of this issue is like as a partnership, and they're not put together, not assigned together. She says, "Hey, you got these major interviews, and so did I. We should just put them together and be a powerhouse." And then they're just like best friends after that. You don't have any of the standard Lois Clark animosity at all.
No.
And I don't really have a problem with it. I don't know. I feel like that should annoy me, but it doesn't.
It's a different caricature than Lois Lane, but not one that feels un-Lois Lane.
No, not at all.
Usually when we introduce her, she's very isolated. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be the best reporter.
I think it helps that neither of them are reporters yet.
Yeah. Yeah, they're both interns.
They're both trying to get to that, and they're going to break in together. That's a neat take, and I think part of the reason I like it is when he gets to Metropolis, he doesn't have anybody, and the first person he has is Lois. And it was somehow that was really sweet. I just like genuinely.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love the Batman-Superman conflict. I love that Superman does not try to hide. I love that Clark doesn't try to hide at all.
Yeah.
Batman smashes his face into a keyboard, and he just lifts him up. I am not hiding. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
But
I forget how that scene ends, how that conflict ends.
he tears off the mask, and he's like, well, if you tell anyone what I am, I'm going to tell everybody you're Bruce Wayne. And then he leaves.
Yep. Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't put everything together quickly.
This actually doesn't seem like the worst start.
Quickly.
Like, I'm not sure they would hate each other. Like, once they both get rolling in their careers.
Yeah, I
think they can put this behind them.
I think so. Yeah.
It's like, hey, you remember that time? Well, actually, he does bring up. He's like, Bruce Wayne still owes me a laptop.
Oh yeah, that's great.
But no, it's great. And then we have a.
But there's that horrible dance thing.
There's that horrible dance thing. But then we have this one, Steve Dillon.
He might as well have been in a solo conga line.
Which must have been.
I just got an interview. It's terrible.
Yeah, that was awful. We have the Parasite thing, which this one does matter. But it's drawn by Steve Dillon, which must be one of the last things he drew before he passed away.
Oh wow.
Steve Dillon's Preacher. For a little while at Marvel, every comic book you read had a Punisher page drawn by Steve Dillon that was like R.I.P. Steve Dillon. Then DC had Preacher. Steve Dillon's a kind of major artist.
Wow.
And so this must have been one of the last things he did.
I'm glad you brought that up because I would not have picked up on that. I didn't know that name right away.
He also did some Hellraiser. He also did Wolverine, which he should not have done. He just shouldn't draw superheroes. I'm sorry. He just shouldn't.
So, we get into issue 5 with the proto-Superman costume where he's trying to...
And this one's Francis Maypole, who we both love.
It's good. Of course, everything he draws is great.
Yeah.
But I love his Flash. But I want to say his Flash is the first thing I ever read from him.
Yes.
I might be wrong.
I think it's the first thing I read from him, too.
Yeah.
I'm right about that. I think you're right. I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
Where he's got that lovely boomerang issue.
Yes. Yeah. That is him. I'm just trying to think. I think that's the first time I read him, too.
But anyway, I haven't thought about Manipul in a while.
Well, yeah, because he started that Trendy book and then just stopped.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. In the art,
he drew 2 issues and then stopped drawing it, and he's not as good a writer as he gets an artist.
So that's right, he was writing too. God, it's all come back to me. So Superman's Clark Kent is flailing around trying to figure out what Superman is going to be. He wants to start stopping crimes in Metropolis because he has these powers, and he wants to do a good deed a day. I love that idea. I'm not going to try to stop everything. I'm just going to turn on the police radio. I'm going to do one a day. Mm-hmm. And he puts on this proto costume, and he puts on a helmet with goggles so that bugs don't get in his face.
Yeah, it's like an aviator, almost like a World War I kind of.
And he puts on the Batman cape because he has the Batman cape from that last issue, and it really kind of reads as just to F you to Batman, and I love it so much.
And he wears a bulletproof vest. To make people think that he needs it.
I like that proto suit a lot.
Me too.
I think everything about that it's functional and it's funny looking and it's great. And he just spray paints on the S, and I like that there's no discussion at all about the S until the next issue. That we don't know how he knows about it. We don't know why he put it on, and it doesn't. This is. I realize that we have time in between issues, so I guess that's why I'm saying this. But this feels like the longest we've ever had, where he's going around with that S and it doesn't stand for anything.
No, Man of Steel has too. Because remember, he doesn't know about Krypton until the last pages of Man of Steel.
Yeah,
and Man of Steel spans 20 years.
I get that, but it's fairly early when Lois Lane or whoever decides that it stands for Superman. What I'm saying is, he's wearing it and no one calls him Superman.
Oh, you're right.
For the longest time, it doesn't stand for anything.
And Lex comes up with Superman.
He does, which is awesome. Such a good idea. Because Lex is basically saying you could be a Ubermensch.
Yes.
And he says Superman, and then he decides it's almost there's no discussion about it. It reads like Clark commandeers it to make it mean something else.
Yeah.
I love everything about that.
I actually take it kind of as a middle.
And I also like that too. Well, he did that with Batman.
Yep.
He did that with the Batman cape.
Yep.
But I also like that Lois goes through or is it Clark together where they're like, I can't remember. There's a scene where somebody's going through dumb names, and I thought it was Lois. Maybe I'm wrong, but if it is, that's kind of a fun idea. Where it's like she doesn't name him, she tries and she fails, and Superman, and then Lex.
He also doesn't give her an interview. Okay,
right.
I do have a small gripe.
We're sort of talking about two different issues right now, I think. But
yeah, because the Lex stuff isn't. No. It's at the end of this issue.
Oh, that's
it's
right.
The Parasite thing.
That's right.
Because
he's going to throw Parasite in his office and say, "You created this guy."
I have a small gripe.
Sure.
Which is, Max Landis is intentionally doing all of this subversions of expectations and doing things differently than we've done it before and all of that. Since Superman the movie, Superman has never been introduced not lifting something.
Yeah.
And we introduce him. Maybe you could argue that we don't because he's wearing the proto costume. We introduce him lifting two guys.
You wanted him to be introduced in some other way.
Yeah, just no one's gotten away from it.
You don't mean to the public.
I mean to the audience. Also,
I wouldn't have thought of that. How would you do it?
I actually have a thing. Because I have a Superman origin. Like if I got to write Superman,
cool.
I would do it. I would have Superman introduced stopping a wife beater. I would have.
Crusader Superman.
Yes.
Okay, but you can't do that in this, and the reason is because.
Well, I'm not saying he should do my idea.
I'm just saying I wouldn't want it to be that gritty in this, even though this goes to really gritty places, because I think part of the point of that second issue is this is not Crusader Superman. Mm-hmm. He tries to be that, and like he's got to find some other way. He doesn't want to be the vigilante, and that's the contrast with Batman too. I don't want to be the vigilante.
It doesn't even have to actually be a wife beater. It would be like in my version of the Superman origin. But I love the idea of introducing Superman where someone goes to throw a punch and its arm gets caught, and you just see the arm, and you look back and he's there.
Yeah.
That's not lifting something. Like there are a million other ways to introduce Superman. We only introduce him lifting things. I do want to say, now that I'm thinking about it, this is a sidebar. This is not for people unfamiliar with Superman. Like you complain sometimes that like we have to reiterate the myth. This is not for anyone that's unfamiliar with the myth.
No, and I think it
because that alien thing would come out of nowhere. Like we talk about the spaceship.
Yes, and and you cited this as a problem, and I agree with you at least to a degree that also his getting together with Lois at the end is just obligatory. Like that's for people that know that they're supposed to get together.
She's not in this enough.
But besides the fact that they just don't build up enough to that, so I don't appreciate the moment, I don't have a problem with the fact that this is only for Superman readers. I don't either. I don't think that's really a problem.
But I just wanted to mention, I don't think this is for people that are unfamiliar with Superman. This is for
certainly not.
Even like casual, or even like comic fans aren't Superman readers could read this, you would know enough about Superman.
I'm wanting this to build a universe, I'm wanting it to keep going. If it did, I maybe would have more of an issue with that. And that's the thing where it's at odds with itself. Mm-hmm. This as the 7-issue vignette thing, like dropping a camera in on various Superman events. I think it's okay. I think it's okay that it's only for people that know the guy.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But that's a really good point.
I also like Superman hanging out eating things.
Say it again.
I like Superman hanging out eating food, just on top of things. I think that's amusing.
Oh, and then the guy who owns the building comes up, and he's like, "Do you mind if I eat here?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, it's fine."
I guess I should ask.
And then he complains about having too much onions in his sandwich.
Yeah.
I don't know why I remember that detail.
Because he says, and that felt really like realistic. Where he's like, "I said extra onions. This is too many. Like this is too many onions."
That felt like that probably happened to Max Landis like 3 hours ago.
You're drawing from personal experience.
Yeah, right. From 3 hours ago.
I love how Superman works with the cops.
Yes.
To stop.
And right away, you know what that reminded me of?
Parasite.
You know, to stop. That would be a much bigger story.
Yes.
It reminded me a little bit. This is not the same scene. It reminded me a little bit of that bit in Avengers where the cops don't know why they should work with Captain America, and then he beats up some aliens, and they go, "Okay, let's work with this guy." Like I really like that he just shows up and like he's clearly capable, and the SWAT guy. I love that there's not a bunch of argument about like should we trust this guy, should we not. It's just, yeah, you work with us. We're gonna try it because we don't have a better way to get through this, and nobody questions it. They don't, and that it doesn't feel unrealistic. Where it's not that thing where it's like, well, you can't just assume that Superman is always going to have your best interest at heart, or that he's not going to make mistakes or whatever. It isn't that. It's just This guy that all we know about him is he keeps saving people. He's got these powers, and we need somebody like this right now.
Mm-hmm.
They take the risk.
Yeah. I don't.
And that's one of my favorite panels in the book. Is when he's flying with the SWAT guys.
Yes, I agree.
It's
a great panel.
It's wonderful.
Yep.
I didn't think that was my favorite issue. That might be my favorite issue as we're talking about it because I love the end with Lex so much.
I think the Batman issue is my favorite. And I like Lex's introduction explanation of himself more than I like this scene, although I do like this scene. It's
they're great companion pieces together, though.
It's the scene from the animated series taken to the end.
It is. That's exactly what it is.
But, like...
There's also a scene in Lex Luthor Man of Steel that kind of reminds me of that, too.
If
memory serves. I might be thinking of something else. I think it's in that.
I like that in this, Lex Luthor... It's a very subtle thing to do in this scene, or I think it would be very difficult. Lex Luthor is 100% way smarter than Superman.
Yes.
But Superman doesn't have to look stupid. It's not Superman being like, well, and he's like, well, what are you gonna... Like, we do that a lot.
Yes.
It doesn't do that. Superman can still stand his ground, and he doesn't look like an idiot, but Lex Luthor is way smarter than him.
He just looks inexperienced, and he looks wet behind the ears.
Yeah. It's a great scene.
And Lex will always be smarter than Superman.
And he should be. And I think a lot of times we don't write him that way.
Yeah, no, it's great. But Superman's not a bumbling moron either.
Yes.
And again,
he is
he's
figuring
naive. Out what to do with power. He's naive, but he's also relying too much on his physical abilities, because if you can do all the things Superman can do, it will be very difficult not to lean on those. And even if you're, the reporter Clark, even if you're good at investigating things.
There's a thing, I think it's in New Krypton, where they talk
about fighting with that.
Where they talk about Superman can't fight Kryptonians because Superman never learned how to fight. He didn't have to.
Yes.
So when other people have the same power level as him and they're military trained,
but they had to be capable without it.
Yeah, because it's a great idea.
I've never read the New Krypton stuff. I need to.
I only read the beginning.
I've only read the end of it, and it's not good, and so I've
only read the beginning of it. And people say it got bad, so I didn't keep going.
Yeah.
But no, it's a very good issue. I guess Lois is in this issue. I only remembered her being in that.
She is, but she's not in a lot of it. Something we didn't talk about from the previous issue is when Clark is introduced to Lois, he initially thinks she's a man.
Oh, I didn't like that.
And I just wanted to bring it up because I kind of think it's fun that we have Lewis and Clark in a Lois and Clark comic. That's kind of fun.
I couldn't figure out how he would get Lewis because it sounds like he read it.
Maybe he just skimmed over something, but then he seems sort of enamored with the work, so it's like, how much of her work did you read?
That felt weirdly, yeah. I didn't understand that. And we used to do that scene a lot. We've stopped doing it, thank God, but we used to do that scene a lot where it's like, oh, I didn't expect a woman. And it felt like a weird modern version of that, but it still didn't work.
I think it's supposed to be fun just because, but it's cutesy. I think it's supposed to be fun just because it's like, oh, this is the woman you're eventually going to marry, and you thought she was a man, but... so I'm with you. It's not great.
I still don't know how you
but
Lewis.
When I was a kid and you'd study Lewis and Clark in school, I would always think I wonder if they were thinking that when they made Clark Kent and Lois Lane, and then somebody finally put it in a comic book.
Yeah. I thought that was cutesy and didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then we have the Two-Face backup.
Oh, I didn't read that either. There's a Two-Face backup?
Well, it's just this page. But if you read this, it's a memo. That. Okay, so this is a memo from Jimmy Olsen.
I don't know how I missed that.
Where he's trying to...
I didn't realize there was a backup like this in each of these. I thought a couple of them didn't have it at all.
The last two I don't think do.
Okay.
Which also made me think that we were building something that was going to build on a lot of these backups.
Wait, who's quitting?
It's Jimmy Olsen.
Jimmy Olsen, okay.
Because...
Before we've met him.
They are... Yes. Because they are running up, the paper is running a thing that says Two-Face and Harvey Dent are not the same person. He's like, no, I have pictures. They are the same person.
This is awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
You're a fraud and you're perpetrating a lie. So, I know Two-Face is not, or Harvey Dent is not dead. I know you have more integrity than I do. Oh, this is great.
Yeah, no, it's great. That's essentially your introduction to Jimmy Olsen if you read that back.
If you don't publish the Two-Face story, you can't fire me because I quit. That's so good!
Yeah, it's very good.
Oh! That's cool. This really needed to be an ongoing, because this universe, I would have just,
I agree.
been so immersed in if it stayed at this quality.
Then we have the Buddy issue, which is drawn by Jonathan Case, who's not an artist I'm familiar with.
Yeah. I don't know him either, but I think I liked that art okay.
Yeah, no, it's
We'll
fine.
look at it again.
I like it. It's kind of almost like modern Archie.
Yeah, sure.
Like it's more drawn than old Archie comics are, but it's almost like a more modern update on that kind
Which
of
makes
look.
it look in places a little
Maybe
bit
the
like,
Mind Steve did go.
like Superman the Animated Series.
Yeah. I like this issue a lot. I have one minor.
So this is where Pete Ross shows up.
And some guy, I don't know who he is.
I don't know who he is either.
I want to believe that he is like some random person that like he's been mentioned like more than once in like whenever we're in Smallville, and Max Landis is like, I'm like, and that guy.
History, yeah, but he's not Whitney Fordman or anybody. Like,
Yeah,
he's not anybody I know.
Well, I think Whitney Fordman's only Smallville, right? He's not comic.
Yeah, but occasionally a comical mention.
Okay,
that's why I said
sure.
that. Yeah. And then Man of Steel said Fordham, and I just went like this. And
But this is a real classic tale of like the friends come to visit and like you've all changed a little bit and like you don't exactly click the way you used to.
And one's kind of jealous of the success of the other, or that's what it looks like. And then like I kind of like the reveal of no, I'm not jealous of you. I think you're lost and you don't know what you're doing and you don't realize that you're putting yourself in all of this danger. And at first I thought it was going to be all about like you're not thinking of us and what it could do to us. I thought it was going to be like, look, you put your face everywhere. They figure out you're from Smallville. We're all screwed. He doesn't say that.
No,
it's not about him. It's we're worried about our friend. And he says, that's all we talk about. He says in Smallville, that's all anybody talks about is we see your face everywhere. And I think at this point, everyone in Smallville has
Yes, no, everyone knows. And they do bring up the glasses thing, and I like the explanation. Where like, so you just never take glasses off? He's like, no, I take them off all the time. People, you know what people say? You look just like Superman.
You look like Superman. And you can do that in a big city.
Yeah.
You can't do it if that city is 1.5 hours from Smallville. But you can do it in this.
There is a thing in this I don't like where they're talking about Lois, and he says she's still seeing other people. Once again, as Max Landis putting his own stuff in here, Clark Kent would not date a girl that's dating other people.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And 6 issues in,
coming from conservative Midwest, I don't believe that.
But
Clark
also,
Kent
I've
would.
gotten to know this version more. I don't think this version would.
And I don't.
The thing is, I don't know if I know the guy in issue 3 well enough to make some of the.
Well, maybe I'm just going off of my standard take on Superman. Right. But I also, with the limited time we spent on Lois Lane, I don't think Lois Lane would do that either. That feels like Max Landis bringing in like his own life.
I missed that, or don't remember it. Was it?
It's when he's talking to Pete. Like they ask
is
about.
Is it supposed to be that they're just not in a serious relationship?
I think so, but it sounds like Clark wants to be because he doesn't say we're in an open relationship or anything like that. He says Lois is still seeing other people.
Well, that would just mean that they're not exclusive. But you're saying that he wouldn't be in a non-exclusive relationship.
Coming from a small town, Kansas, I don't think he's cool with that. I just don't think that Clark.
Maybe it's like I don't even know what this relationship is thing. Like we're not boyfriend girlfriend.
Which is fine if I get more of it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Unlike the random sex thing in issue 3, I think you can actually sell me on this. And
we don't get to spend enough time with it, and it doesn't feel like a thing you'd want to do in a vignette. It feels like a thing you'd want to do in an ongoing.
Yeah, in an ongoing where like Clark Kent is just head over heels for this girl, and is also like kind of a naive kid from a small town, and it's like
how big city.
I'm not really comfortable with this, but like I don't want to tell you what to do, so like I'm gonna play along with this because I want to keep seeing you, so I guess I'll say I'm okay with this, even though I'm not. Like I'm like you can make
hoping that at some point you'll stop seeing other people.
Yeah, so you can earn that.
Yeah,
but this is not the place to do something.
And
like
also, I know there's time in between, but then the very next issue we get the "I love you" thing.
Yes.
No, you're right. The relationship stuff is unfortunately too much in the background to get as much of it as we do. As we do.
And it just feels like it's trying to modernize for modernize's sake. Like this is what relationships are like. I'm like, no. Maybe in L.A.
One of my favorite, but maybe in Metropolis, right? One of my favorite things in that issue is toward the very beginning when they get off the bus from Smallville and it's Clark Kent standing in front of the big Superman head.
Yes, I like
that.
I
love it so much.
I like that. I also like that we don't get the costume in this issue. Because you see that and you're like, okay, he has the costume now, we're going to see it. And you don't see it for the whole issue.
Well, I would like it better if I liked the costume.
When we get to the costume.
The problem is, the assumption you make with just the headshot is that it's a traditional Superman costume, and then it's got like dumb shoulder pads.
Yeah, it's got all this padding.
What is going on with that? He looks like a rollerblader.
He looks like New 52 Superman when like the worst artists were drawing him.
But if he was wearing elbow pads and not armor, like, it's worse.
But I feel like some artists drew him like that.
Okay.
But no, it's really bad. And then he goes into space because he has to fight with. What I was going to say about the thing with Pete Ross is what I like about it is. I think he is also jealous. I think there's a multi-layered thing. I think he is making the points he's making, but I think he's so aggressive about it because he is a little jealous.
Sure.
Because he didn't get to get out of his own town.
Which is a thing that would maybe be easier to play with, like an actor, than in a comic book.
But I read it as he's not lying when he says the things he says later. But it came out the way it came out because maybe he is a little.
There's a part of it he's not.
I like that everyone's kind of the good guy and everyone's kind of the bad guy.
That's right.
This is not Clark being a jerk.
No,
necessarily. It's all of them kind of being a jerk, and all of them kind of
doesn't understand.
It's that friendship growing apart when you move away, and like when you come back together, everyone's a little different, and you don't know how to adjust.
And it's also the thing where he's too close to the situation, so he doesn't realize like the truths that Pete Ross is throwing at him is him understanding a psychology that Clark isn't. He's too close to it. Clark doesn't understand until that moment that the reason he's doing a lot of the stuff he's doing is just hoping that his real parents will find him. And I think when he
I
says
love that idea.
It's so good. It's a really good reason to wear the S. And like usually we make it like tribute to his home, but he doesn't know anything about his home yet. And
I love that
it's that version you like that he doesn't know anything about Krypton yet.
Yeah, but he knows that he's an alien, and he's like, well, I mean, Superman's picture's everywhere. Like, hopefully they'll see it and they'll come here.
And I also love that our hand isn't held through that. So like, it's a wonderful reveal for us. And usually I don't like it when your protagonist knows something that we don't, but I think this is an exception. Maybe that proves the rule. But I like that in the moment because it's just dialogue that makes sense to have in that moment. And I don't know where else it would have come up. Now we're learning why he's wearing the S. He's had it. We're used to him wearing that. Like you can make assumptions that like this is, like, as you said, for people that know Superman. So like yeah, the crest was probably in the ship, and he's wearing it, and maybe we'll get something about it. And indeed we do. And it's I was hoping that like Pete Ross says basically like you're literally wearing a target on your back, and I don't know if it's on his cape yet, but because we don't see the costume yet, but he says, well, I'm wearing it because I'm hoping that they'll see it from space. And I'm wondering, this is my read on it, if in the scene, that's him realizing why he's doing it. Like, maybe he never articulated it for himself. Maybe just in that moment, he's like, I guess that's why I'm doing this.
And then he goes to space.
And he tries to go to space because he's so upset about that scene with Pete Ross and because he just wants answers. And there's that great setup for that earlier of, can you go to the moon? You remember that?
Yeah. That's in that issue.
Yeah. And
he tries it.
And I love that. And he tries it and it doesn't work. And he's able to get as far as he does for all the reasons he says he thinks he can. And he says, I can hold my breath, but he doesn't realize that
the atmospheric pressure change
is going to collapse his lungs or make him asphyxiate.
Which suggests maybe he could go up in a ship and then fly. It's the going through the atmosphere that's what gets him.
Well, that makes sense because we see Lobo do it. Because Lobo can be thrown through the atmosphere.
Or that could be inconsistent. Also, when the Green Lanterns show up,
we don't know anything about
he writes him drunk again. I don't like it. I think it's too cutesy.
I don't either.
Okay.
I get the sense he probably writes that kind of thing in everything he writes. Or in lots of things that he writes. But yeah, what did you think about the Green Lantern thing and that it's off in
I thought that was fun.
I did too.
I also like that they say that they don't have lanterns there yet.
Yeah.
I thought that was fun. Like we're not sure Earth's ready for that yet.
He's lucky they were there. And I don't know what they were doing there. No. If Earth's not ready yet, I don't know what they were doing there.
Maybe they were like looking and they just come to the conclusion that Earth's not ready yet.
Isn't there a mention that they've been stalking him?
Oh, they're following him because he's Kryptonian. They want to know what Kryptonian's doing there.
That's what it is.
Yes.
That's why they're there.
Yes.
There is an explanation.
And he has
for
that awful, like, I'm drunk, where he keeps saying Kryptonian wrong. Kryptoniums.
It's not funny. Just stop it.
Yeah.
And they're not sure how much they should tell him about it, which is why he doesn't learn about the destruction of the planet until Lobo shows up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he makes up with Pete Ross, and that's a nice tender scene.
But this issue doesn't have an ending thing.
Right.
Which, to me, reading through this, tells me
Some of that
next
stuff's gonna pay
issue,
off.
Doomsday and Mxyzptlk are coming back because the Parasite one was immediately paid off, and if we don't have one here, we're not just arbitrarily throwing them in at the ends of issues and not putting them in other
And
issues.
also Jimmy Olsen shows up.
Yeah, and Jimmy Olsen shows up. It's like, they're not just arbitrary, like, this is doing something.
Yeah.
It's not here, so that means
I
we
wasn't
don't have anything else to
anticipating
set up.
because I didn't care if he showed up, but you're
But you also
right.
didn't
It
read
is... What's that?
I said, but you also didn't read it. I mean, I guess not that it
I
actually
saw
sets
that
things
he was
up.
there.
Yeah.
But the Doomsday thing, like, obviously that's just a thing I hear about.
But yeah, when I got to this issue and there wasn't a backup page.
And I'm not saying I'm upset that he didn't do Death of Superman for his last issue. I'm saying, how did we not do anything with Doomsday? And what was the point of that?
Yeah, and unlike the Mxyzptlk thing, which feels like he could have been, like, that feels like he could have just been like, I have this really fun little one, like, I can do it in a page. Doomsday's not doing anything.
Well, and the
It's
Two
not
Face
saying
thing just gives you some really cool background.
Yeah,
like,
and that's what the Smallville one, the first issue was too. Like,
but that just looks like plot stuff.
yeah, Doomsday's
Right?
not. Yeah, Doomsday's not in a page like encapsulating Doomsday as a character and doing something interesting with him.
No, because it's Doomsday.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with that?
Yeah.
You can't encapsulate Doomsday as a character.
The
His character is Metropolis.
And as Max Landis says, he sees in his that Superman video, he sees a poster for Wrestling Metropolis. He says, "There's fighting in Metropolis. I like to fight. Therefore, I will go to Metropolis."
I don't understand why he doesn't like that book. Like,
The final issue is drawn by Jock, who I love. He is one of my favorite artists.
I like Jock a lot.
This doesn't look great.
I don't know about it here.
It feels a little phoned in by Jock.
It does.
His faces are weird. His suit looks awful.
I think he could be really cool for Superman. Again, that juxtaposition. He's
I've
also
drawn Superman before, but I'm not positive.
Okay.
Because his Batman stuff's great. I
I
love The
don't-
Losers, Green Arrow Year One.
Well, and the thing is, he usually does pretty gritty, like darker stuff. This isn't exactly even the right place for him. Like, I get that the Lobo
it's weird
fight.
to give him high flying adventure.
Well, and the thing is,
Exactly.
the Lobo fight ends up being one of the most graphic things in the book because for some reason Landis thinks it's important to have Superman like tear Lobo apart, and I didn't feel like there was any need for it to go that far. Like, I'm not sure. I mean, like, maybe I can be won over as we're talking about it. Just my first impression of that was it that important that fight be as brutal as it was?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like it would play better if he didn't know his own strength. This is the first time he let loose.
I just wasn't sure.
But I don't get the sense that's what he's doing.
Was it that? Unless it's like, just look how mortal he is, because he had to do that in order to even win.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets, the cream beat out of him too.
Lobo's a weird choice.
Weird choice.
Don't dislike it. Just a weird choice.
It was fine. I didn't have a problem
I think
with
it's
it.
even weirder because it's a 7-issue miniseries.
Yeah.
If you're
only going to do Parasite, Lex Luthor, and D20
Lobo.
roll Lobo.
Well, Lobo makes sense.
Sure.
No. I also like he was there to get Hawkman. I thought that was cool, and that was playing with the
whole
DC
thing about
universe.
the Thanagarians, right?
Yeah, he's there. He's there to get a rogue Thanagarian agent who's Hawkman.
Yeah.
I liked all that.
That was great.
I thought that was a good reason for him to beat it. I think it works. I just think it's a weird choice.
Lobo's never a Superman villain. Like, obviously.
Yeah, he's in the animated series.
I love him in that so
Yeah,
much.
me too.
He's great.
It's voiced by the same guy that voices Bibbo in that series.
Yes.
The brother in Everybody Loves Raymond.
He's great.
He is.
Oh, is that who that is?
Yeah.
He's a great voice actor.
I agree.
And I just like what he looks like in that show. I don't know what it is, but like just some of the best animation in that show.
What, Bibbo or Lobo?
Lobo.
Oh, the Lobo's great.
I don't know why, but it's almost like they took extra care with that because they knew that was a like really like violent rated R type character, and they just wanted to make sure to get it as right as they could in that kind of show.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
but
I'm not even a Lobo fan.
Yeah.
He's supposed to get a movie, or there's been talk about it forever.
I don't know how you can do Lobo now. Everything cool about Lobo, Deadpool ripped off.
We all, yeah, and Guardians too.
That's true.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of like Lobo after Taserface. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right.
I'm not saying
You're right.
Taserface is Lobo. I'm just saying that like it's
Well-
it's not going to surprise anybody.
Oh, I don't
Right?
think Taserface is Lobo, but Taserface is entirely a joke Lobo would make.
Yes,
Like, he would just make fun of that guy relentlessly.
precisely.
He would follow him around smoking a cigar, just keep being like, what do you mean Taser? What does that mean?
And it's like when you do the gritty side of the like cosmic DC universe, it's just going to look like a ripoff of Guardians now.
Yep.
But anyway,
But
and that is our dissertation on Lobo.
but Superman fights Lobo, throws him into space, which felt a little far in this universe. I'm not sure about throwing him into space.
Where it's like I can't even go into space without
But I can throw
dying.
you into
but I can
space.
toss a person that hard. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah. And then Clark's in the hospital with, like they explain, it's like they find Clark in the rubble, which is the
Well,
explanation
importantly-
for Death of Superman too, right?
Yes.
That's where Clark has been. He's been in the rubble.
Yes.
Okay.
And importantly,
Just making sure.
we have he has now learned that his planet exploded.
Yes, and that he is alone, which makes him feel more alien than Lois is there. But it's weird because the relationship's been so in the background. It doesn't feel like a whole piece to get to this conclusion. And she tells him that
But when
she
you get to
loves
the end,
him.
it's like, really, that's it? Like,
And there's a mention. Is it the previous issue where he says that he told her that he loves her, or is it the beginning?
no, it's the
of this
beginning of
issue?
this issue.
Okay. Yeah. Here's what I don't like about this. Aside from the fact that, like, I don't think we had enough with Lois to justify this being the
We
ending
don't even
of
know
this
what the
series.
relationship is like because he says she just grunted and I don't know what that meant. And so the whole issue, we're wondering if she has that kind of affection for him.
And the issue before this, she's dating other people.
Yeah.
But here's my issue with.
Or are you afraid that it looks like kind of a puppy dog thing, where like you got hurt, and so now I'm going to say I love you? Is it?
Yeah, it sounds like a sympathy. I love you.
Mhm.
I think it makes her look bad. And maybe it's true. But if I was Clark, I would be like,
What is that
but does
syndrome
she
where,
actually,
like,
or she's
somebody gets hit by a car and you fall in love with, like you hit somebody with a car and then you fall in love with them, like that whole
well,
thing?
that's Back to the Future.
Yes, it is.
Usually, it's the nurse thing. Nurse
yes,
is
that
taking
too.
care of. That's where it comes from. And Back to the Future is when you hit somebody with a car.
I don't think you know how cliche that is, though.
Oh, okay.
That's why Back to the Future did it, because it was a cliche and they thought it was funny.
Oh.
That's been in a bunch of other things, too. I don't know what they are, but I've read about this, and yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought they were just extrapolating from the nurse thing.
I thought
that was just Back to the Future.
writing mentor who, at the start of class one day, said no one ever do that.
Interesting.
It's in the notebook, I think. I think he said it's in the notebook.
It probably is.
But anyway, yeah.
Uh,
He always
but-
used the notebook as what not to do.
no, of course.
Just in every class, he always brought up the notebook.
But I would say that for all Nicholas Sparks novels. But yeah, I just don't think the ending works for the miniseries.
It's fine, but I wanted an eight. Like,
So here's the thing. This miniseries is 1 through 7, right? But I feel like it's issues like 1, 2, 3, 7, 9, 15.
there's stuff we're missing.
And not in a good vignette way, where like I'm filling in things in between. It feels like once you get out of Smallville, it's building a story. Maybe, I don't know. It doesn't. I don't feel like it works as a piece as vignettes. But I also feel like it doesn't
But
work
it's a
as a
testament
whole thing.
to how much I like it that I'm frustrated by that.
Yeah, and I wish there was more.
The
of it.
reason I'm frustrated is because there's not enough of it.
Yeah.
I think this could have become my favorite Superman, or real up there. At least
If there was more of it.
At least comic book wise, yeah. This is what I wish something like this, for a like rebooted Superman. Like again, it is like John Byrne, where it's like you're not going too far and you're not changing everything about the character.
Mm-hmm.
But it also does that thing John Byrne did, where it's like we're gonna go back on just how powerful he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's even farther from how Byrne did it. It's like he doesn't juggle planets anymore. Here he can't even go to space.
Mm-hmm. No, it's very good. It's just got a couple of things that are holding it back from being like great.
I don't think now. I say that I love Earth 1.
Yeah, me too. I like Earth 1 more than this.
I do too, and so I guess I would have been more interested in an Earth 1 ongoing than a this
I just wish
ongoing.
JMS did more.
Me too.
Especially with the Lex Squared thing at the end, where it's the girl Lex and Lex is dead.
It's
and
so
the
good!
guys. Yeah.
Lex Squared is awesome, where Lex is split into two different personalities.
And the good one dies.
Yeah.
But no, it's.
Does she shave her head?
I can't remember. I was just wondering that too. I don't think so. I don't think so. But I think he has hair as well. I can't remember.
I thought there was a bald thing later, though.
Maybe. I can't remember. But this is very good.
It's very good.
It's not as good as I thought it was going to be.
Oh.
I was let down because like I'm a big fan of Max Lance's writing.
Yeah.
And I was a little let down where I'm like, Max Lance when he got this job said, like, kind of said that he was writing it. He was already writing it. And he's like, well, I would have written this anyways. Like Max Lance does a lot of writing, like stuff that you'll never see, never gets published, that kind of thing.
And this just didn't feel like a passion project in the way you expected.
No, it feels like a passion project, kind of. It just feels like ideas.
Yeah.
It feels like he thought he was only ever going to get 7 issues, and he wanted to put as many ideas that he has about Superman there. It doesn't matter, and the cape makes him turn. I don't have time to explain it, but like that's there. And like, what if he wore goggles for bugs, and then he just stops wearing them for some reason? And what if I played with the Batman suit? Like, it feels like he had so many ideas and like just couldn't make it all work as a cohesive
But
whole.
like while you're reading it, it doesn't read like just pitches. It
No.
just reads like you're reading pieces of a bigger thing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, this is like a 25 issue run, and we only got 7 issues on it.
Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. It just feels like there's parts missing.
Where does it rank for you in the origins we reviewed? Now that we're at the end, is it somewhere in the middle? Is it toward the top?
Just for what we reviewed, or for all of? Because is Earth One included in that?
No, just what we reviewed.
Okay,
Because Earth 1, I think, is way up there. It and Burn for me are like
Yes,
fighting,
yes,
right?
I agree. Of what we reviewed is John Byrne, American
Where's the top?
Alien.
What else did we review? Remind me.
Birthright's boring,
We didn't like
but
Birthright. we didn't
For
care
All
for, right?
Seasons isn't good.
That's right.
So I guess probably Birthright for All Seasons. And then we didn't do Secret Origin. I would put Secret Origin above Birthright, but below
Were we
this.
going to do Secret Origin?
Yeah, we were going to do Secret Origin. I gave
Maybe
it
at
to you at one
some-
point and you started reading it.
I
We
did. Maybe at some
that.
point we'll do that then. This doesn't have to be the end, but they'll be out of order now. But yeah,
The end, question mark.
the living end. ... Question mark.
But yeah, so it would go Man of Steel. Man of Steel's kind of my definitive of Superman origin.
Yeah.
But I do really like Earth 1. But I think Earth 1, just in my brain, will forever not be as good as Man of Steel. Because Man of Steel did get to keep going. It wasn't just an origin. Maybe that's not fair.
Well,
but
and also another thing in trying to compare them that we should bring up, because it's maybe not fair to compare certain ones to other ones, is that this is not building a Krypton. Some of them are making their own Krypton, and some of them are avoiding
really appreciate
Krypton.
they didn't do that.
Me too. I really like that, especially because that's what everybody does. And Bendis just did it again. But like, I love Byrne partly for his Krypton. It's not really fair to compare that to anything else, because he has also the definitive take on Krypton.
But it's only in that first issue of Man of Steel.
I know, but that elevates it a lot. I mean, that's a lot to do with why I like
yeah,
it.
sure.
You're right, I forgot about that. That is only that first issue. But it
Because
doesn't
you
matter.
also read World of Krypton,
That's a lot
which
of
he
why I
wrote,
love. Yes.
which was him fleshing out his Krypton.
Yes. I forgot. I didn't talk about that at some point today.
Yeah, when the show came out.
Yeah.
That was on the omnibus somewhere.
Oh yeah, because remember they put out
the first issue.
weird reprint that had the Krypton show on the front of it, and there's a second season now, and I haven't watched past the 3rd episode, I think, of that first season.
I'm surprised that it's got a second season. The Expanse got canceled, but Krypton season 2.
The show no one talks about. I never hear anybody
I
talk
forgot
about.
it existed until I saw an ad for
I do
season
think
2.
more people have watched it now because they smartly put the first season on DC Universe, so
Okay.
I've heard a little bit more about it. But
Okay.
and in that, I just mean I've heard people acknowledge its existence, not actually watch it. Before, anytime I would bring up that show, 6 out of 10 people or more would be like, "What is that? They made a Krypton show? What?" And I was like, "Yeah, I saw that on DC Universe. I don't care."
Yeah, it's time travel, immediately negating it being worth watching as a Krypton show.
Yeah, and then the second season apparently just does the Rogues Gallery.
Really?
Yeah, well, I sent you that picture where it's like it's Zod and it's
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's actually Zod. It might be like
It's like Zod's
early
grandfather.
Yeah, well, actually, I can't remember now. I can't remember who's in that lineup.
We know Brainiac's in it because he was in the first
Brainiac's there, and then they've got that Doomsday that's actually a guy in a suit. You remember that?
season. But yeah, American Alien.
But
It's
anyway.
pretty okay. It's not great, and the way everyone talked about it I thought was great.
Yeah.
I almost feel like everybody read the first couple issues and didn't read the rest
Maybe
of
they
it.
didn't read the rest of it.
But yeah, everyone talks about this like it's amazing, and I don't think it's amazing. I think it's good. I think it's worth reading. I just don't think it's definitive.
But I think
text.
if it had been the beginning of a run, it might have been amazing.
I agree. Or if it was a companion piece to like an end of Superman's life miniseries.
Sure.
I think it could have been. It could have been.
If that was his follow-up.
Yeah. You do like Year One and Dark Knight Returns, like
Superman dead alien.
Yeah. International Alien, like, because he did American Ultra, and the sequel he never had to make was International Ultra, like International Alien.
Yeah. Superman at the end of his life would have been really cool.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good.
It is.
It's worth reading.
It's fine. Pretty good. Thanks a lot for watching.
If nothing else, it's worth looking at for the art.
I just love that as the culmination of our hour and a half on this book. Yeah, it's good.
It's good.
Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Eric had a lot of fun talking about this with
Yeah,
you.
me too.
And thanks again.
Vignettes are difficult.
They are.
Because you can't, like, summarize it.
No, so it had to be
You have to go...
We kind of knew that going
Yeah.
in. I didn't know it was going to be this long.
Yeah.
Thanks again to Big Blue
Well,
Boy
they
Scout.
paid for it. I hope he...
I was going to say, I think he got a bang for his buck there, yeah. But anyway, thanks again to Big Blue Boy Scout, and we will see you again next time. I'm Captain Logan.
All right.
Bye, everybody.